there's really nothing better than to listen to a room of people who share a common interest, and especially one in Chinese literature and poetry. I want to just let the conversations continue on through the whole evening, but we have a really exciting agenda. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. But to do so, at first I'd like to introduce and welcome some of our out-of-town guests. So first and foremost, I would like to recognize Joellen Newman Schomer. If you would stand and be recognized. You'll be meeting her later on in the evening, but this is our representative of the Newman family. And here we also have a best friend. So Patty, if you want to just raise your hand. There we are. Okay. And I'd also like to recognize the Taiwan Economic and Cultural Office of Houston. We have the Consul General, Ivan Xiao, if you'll stand. We have the Director of Education Division, Andrea Yang. Director of Science and Technology, Dr. Pin Chuan-chen. Director of the Cultural Affairs Office, Cheng Xianlin. And Consul Michelle Liu. We also have Professor Cosima Bruno from the School of African and Oriental Studies, University of London. Professor Nicholas Wang from Hong Kong University. And the Honorable Editor Xiu from Taiwan. She is Ling Yu's best friend. And of course, our guest of honor tonight, the one and only 2025 Newman Laureate Ling Yu. Now, if you are a faculty, staff, or administrator, I'd like you to stand and be recognized, if you can. Faculty. And if I could get a round of applause for our former dean, Paul Bell, a great dean of arts and sciences, and a great friend of Chinese literature and language here in the heartland. Thank you for your service, sir. And I would like to have every OU student please stand and be recognized. And finally, if you are a winner of the English Jueju competition, or a teacher, or family or friend member of one of those winners, please stand and be recognized. This is a formality in many cases, but actually it's really meaningful to me. I'd like Ling Yu to know who she's eating with this evening, because you are about to meet her. And you will, I think, after the next couple hours, take something away of what the rest of us have learned over the last couple days for the Newman Prize. We have a number of events to really get to hear her speak and read her poetry, and I think you'll all leave with not just a name, a literary figure, in the canon, but someone that I think you'll cherish. And so I'm glad that she now knows who she's meeting, just as you know her. So what are the Newman Prizes? So the Newman Prize is awarded biennially, which every other year, in recognition of an outstanding achievement in prose or poetry that best captures the human condition and is conferred solely on the basis of literary merit. Any living author writing in Chinese is eligible. A jury of 5 distinguished literary experts from around the world are nominate authors, and last year they did so in the summer, and selected their winner in a transparent voting process of positive elimination on December 1st, 2024. The Newman Prize honors Harold J. and Ruth Newman, whose generous endowment of a chair at the University of Oklahoma enabled the creation of the OU Institute for U.S.-China Issues in 2006. OU is also the home of Chinese Literature Translation Archive, the journal Chinese Literature and Thought Today, World Literature Today, the Neustadt International Prize for Literature as well. Previous winners of the Newman Prize include mainland novelist Mo Yan in 2009, Han Shaogong in 2011, Wang Yanyi in 2017, and Yan Liangke in 2021. Taiwanese poet Yang Mu and Taiwanese novelist and screenwriter Zhu Tianwen and novelist Zhang Guixin won the Newman Prizes in 2013, 2015, and 2023, respectively. And Hong Kong writer Xi won the Newman Prize in 2019. Mo Yan went on from his win to take the Nobel Prize a few years later, and Xi and Yang Mu both went on to win the Swedish Cicada Prize for East Asian poetry after winning our prize as well. So Harold Newman, you're going to learn more about him because Joellen will talk a little bit about her father who passed recently. But his vision for the Newman Prize is a very serious one. He understands that the US-China relationship is a very fundamental one for the species and for the planet. It is a difficult relationship. It requires complicated and often fraught conversations around security, emerging tech like AI, right? As well as ecology, stewardship of our environment, climate change, public health, as with the pandemic. These are always difficult conversations, and you can't have human difficult conversations without recognizing each other's humanity first. It's a baseline. Grandma knows that. Everyone knows that. This is what Harold Newman understood, that if you were to take a little time and read through one another's eyes, literature and poetry in particular, then we establish that baseline upon which the harder work, the necessary work, can and must be done. So again, I'm looking forward to you also leaving with a little bit more knowledge about his incredible legacy. So I promise that this evening is going to bring you a lot of joy, especially the kind of joy that only poetry can bring when it journeys across languages, across generations, across borders, and yes, across oceans as well. Few things could bring me more joy than the light, the candle, poetry, right now, right here, tonight, amongst friends, new and old, will cast forward into the journey ahead. And it is, let's just say, it's an unknown one that lies before us. And so I'm really, really happy that we get to light that candle together. If you have joined us in previous day, you would have heard her poetry. I want to say a few things briefly about it. Her poems open small little portals, as we talked about yesterday. Her words open up pathways between worlds, between the seen world and the unseen world, between the known and the unknown. It is a simple, it is a direct, it is a pure language, highly accessible, deceivingly so. And then when it's planted, opens up tremendous complexity, leaving a lingering aftertaste. So if you didn't catch the poetry reading, I recommend catching it later on YouTube, where it'll be available on our website. Now, I'd like to introduce my colleague and chair of the Department of Modern Languages, Literature and Linguistics, Professor Newman Liu, to say a few things about Chinese literature and language programs here at the University of Oklahoma. Please welcome my colleague, Dr. Liu.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Jonathan, for that warm and generous introduction. It's truly an honor for me to join you tonight in celebrating the Newman Chinese Literature Prize, a tradition that has become a cherished part of OU's cultural and intellectual life. My name is Newman Liu. I'm chair of the Department of Modern Languages, Literatures, and Linguistics. Our department has been a vital part of OU's academic landscape for over a century. Since its founding in 1918, Modern Languages has brought the world to OU through studies of languages, literatures, and cultures. What began with just 3 languages has grown into one of the largest language departments in this country. Today, we offer 11 language programs in addition to linguistics and teaching English as a second language. Each year, we help thousands of students discover new perspectives and develop global competencies that are essential in our interconnected world. I'm proud to share that our department was featured in the Modern Language Association's most recent report as a national example of success in student enrollment, standing out at a time when many language programs are struggling in maintaining theirs. Of course, the language I want to highlight today is Chinese. OU is home to the only BA program in Chinese in the entire state of Oklahoma. we began offering Chinese language instruction in the 1980s, during a time when the university was renewing its commitment to global engagement. A Chinese minor was added in the year of 2000 and followed by the major in 2005. After 20 years of development, today, the Chinese program at OU is recognized as one of the most dynamic and respected programs in the South Central area. We also host the national headquarters of the Chinese Language Teachers Association, the American Chinese Calligraphy Education Association, and Oklahoma Chinese Language Teachers Association, all of which connect and support hundreds of Chinese educators across the country and here at home. What makes our program truly exceptional is not just the strength of our teaching, but a remarkable ecosystem of resources here that support it. OU is home to the Chinese Literature Translation Archive, with its invaluable collections from Howard Goldblatt and Wolfgang Kuben. We house the Centers for U.S.-China Issues, which fosters critical dialogues and public understanding. We also partner with Minchuan University in Taiwan to support our study abroad programs, which has become one of the most reputable and enriching international experiences available to our OU students. And of course, we celebrate Chinese literacy excellence every other year through the Newman Literature Prize, an event that reflects the very best of our university's global vision. These are not just assets. They are expressions of a deeper commitment to build lasting bridges between cultures. And that commitment doesn't end at the campus gate. Although Oklahoma is not a coastal state and doesn't have a long-standing Chinese-speaking population, Chinese language education is quietly gaining ground, right, across the region here in Oklahoma, perhaps more than many might expect. Students are learning Chinese in Stillwater, Tulsa, Norman, Oklahoma City, and beyond. And they are learning in public schools, private schools, weekends, community schools, and immersion programs. Enrollment unknown, more than 1,000 elementary school students are studying Chinese right now. While policy shifts and structural challenges remain, the interest and momentums are encouraging. This work wouldn't be possible without the dedication of our Chinese instructors and teachers across the state. So if you are one of the Chinese educators here presented tonight, would you please stand up to be recognized? I know that we have Zhang Laoshi from Tulsa, Yuan Laoshi, Gao Laoshi. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your tireless work and for inspiring our next generation of global citizens. As a cognitive linguist myself, I believe deeply that learning another language is not just about mastering syntax or vocabulary. It's about retraining the mind to perceive, to feel, and to think in new ways. Every language carries with it cultural nuance, emotional resonance, and a distinct way of interpreting human experience. In a time when artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming how we communicate and create, what remains distinctively human is our ability to empathize, to recognize complexity, and to reach across boundaries. Language learning nurtures those abilities. It's not an extra. It's essential to a well-rounded education. That's why our mission in modern languages remains unchanged, to bring the world to OU and OU to the world. Because language is not merely a tool. It's a bridge, a mirror, and vessel. And tonight, through this prize, through your presence, and through our shared commitment to literary education, we're building that bridge together. And thank you for being part of it. Please enjoy this evening, and congratulations once again to this year's laureate, Madame Ling Yu. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Liu. I'd like to also take a moment to thank the David L. Boren College of International Studies staff. Jennifer Grover, if you're about, thank you for all the work you've done to make this night possible. But I'd also like to take a moment to thank our Marcom team, which is our marketing communications team, Michelle and Dea as well, who worked very hard to put this evening together. So a quick applause for all of our staff. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank the sponsors tonight, TECO, the Taiwan Economic and Cultural Office of Houston, who sponsored the streaming, the live streaming of this. So I know I did not yet ask our at-home audience to stand up because of obvious reasons, but this is a shout out to all of you joining us from Taipei or Taiwan, all around the world who are streaming. It's Saturday morning, so good morning to all of you, and to thank you for our TECO friends who have made the streaming possible this evening. This also gives me a moment that I can introduce Director General Xiev to come and say a few words on behalf of that office. Please.
Thank you, Jonathan, and good evening, everyone. As Jonathan introduced, I'm Yvonne Xiao. My office serves as the facto Taiwan consulate and based in Houston. And I want to thank the host tonight for giving me the chance to join you to celebrate Ling Yu's being awarded. Now, it's extra wonderful to be here and witness a Taiwanese author, Madame Ling Yu, being honored with such esteemed prize. I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to you and also deep appreciation. Thank you for your marvelous work, which enriches a lot of people's life and also enrich the literary heritage of Chinese literature. And I also want to thank you for being a bridge between Taiwan and the world, because your readers from all over the world, they see, they hear, and they feel Taiwan through Ling Yu's eyes, ears, and heart. And Taiwan is more than 7,000 miles away from Oklahoma, but actually it's much closer than you imagine. We are close neighbors in democracy. We are close neighbors in freedom. So when you read Ling Yu's poetry, you might be curious, what kind of land can nurture such wonderful and talented author? Then please come and visit Taiwan and you'll know. Thank you so much, and congrats again. Thank you.
So imagine for a moment a world where to enter government service at the highest level, one needed to take a poetry exam. Well, this was true in China across 1,500 years, as a portion and often the highest level of the Chinese imperial exam, Keju. Now imagine that that form of poetry was the most complex poetic form the world has ever known, requiring those who compose it to write lines horizontally and vertically at the same time, balancing and counterbalancing, which is to say, rhyming the meaning of words, the grammatical features, and their vowel shapes, as well as conventional rhyming and rhyming human feelings with natural images. Such a poem could be seen as a public mirror of one's ability to harmonize not just thoughts or sounds, but the substrate upon which human consciousness is communicated. That is to say, to harmonize language itself. For over a decade now, students from across Oklahoma and now the whole world compete in this form of poetry once again, but do so in the English language. In the video you are about to see, the 2025 winners from across the globe reciting their original works of English Jueju, selected from, get this, over 525 submissions across 8 countries. The video begins with an homage to Harold J. Newman, whose love of Jueju here at OU, back in the day, began his journey toward China. And his legacy lives in this prize. and the cultural programming that continues along with the prize, which you'll also see a little bit about in the video, including Track 2 Cultural Diplomacy, funded by the State Department, the US, and UNESCO. And it is a way of continuing to share his most beloved form of poetry, but again, in English. I hope you enjoy.
Soft moss, thin stems, slopes of gold, tall grass, stout trees, blue skies fold. We're here for such a brief time, but who knows what life will hold. Large waves beat at gaunt, bare blades. Black hawks fly through fierce, dense glades. Spent wits, young hands, hold sharp cliffs. Lone breeze guides us past kind shades.
Clear moon, great peaks, crisp winds ring. Bright light, gold clouds, lush flutes sing. Vast dusk, world where soul meets heart. Calm town, hushed night, soft air spring.
Hello everyone, my name is Grace Kuyasi. I am 11 years old and I am a student from St. Joseph's Institution International School in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm originally from Shanghai, China. Here is my English Jueju poem entitled Beach. Bright sun, clear air, gold bright beach. Cool wind, soft waves, west skies bleach. Clouds glow, fresh breath, deep blue sea. Short breeze, sea walls, waves can't reach.
Hello, I'm Isabel Pan from St. Paul's Girls' School, and here is my Jueju called Daydreams. Last light, full moon, soft, faint glow, new dawn, dark night, past dreams flow, calm mind, crisp life, slow dreams drift, fresh grass, long days, just let go.
My name's Yugita Kara, and I'm from St. Paul's Girls' School in London. Today I'll be reciting my Jueju poem titled Labour. Rice fields, harsh heat, soft wind blows, ripe wheat, cruel sun, fresh crop grows. Look right, your food is picked up by men who work till fall goes. Thank you.
It's fog, dark night, sad birds call, fine mist, rough storm, raindrops fall. Street lamps light my lone path steps, walls howl, dogs bark, trees stand tall.
I'm Calliope Penstrom. I'm 23 years old and I'm a student at the University of Missouri-Columbia, and this is Summer Nights. Warm breeze, dark, sweet moon, light gust, rich cloud dune. Breathe out, still your thoughts. Frogs sing, lush earth tune.
I am Andrew Merritt, 69 years old, in Granville, Ohio, USA. My Jueju is titled, I Drink Cinnamon Tea in Late January. It is Zu-start regulated verse with 7 syllables in each line and a rhyming first line. Dark month, sad snow, black nights bring. Gray morn, damp sleet, bleak days cling. Herb teas, hot spice, leaves clear taste. Cup lifts, warm cloud, breath waits, spring.
Wind roars, earth cracks, old trees thrash, sky chokes, sap bursts, swift flames lash, fires quenched, home calls, all cloaked black. Kneel here, fresh stalks peek through ash.
Hi, my name is Alice Shaw and this is my Jueju poem. Faint oak, cold wind, fast rock, hill, dull reeds, harsh gust, dark brown mill, will cold, seep past, clenched red fist, quick dusk, gray sky, frost slips, still. Thank you.
Dark night, strong wind, lost elks howl, cold mud, steep slopes, harsh wolves growl. Stay still, don't speak, hold your breath. Snap stick, beam found, sprint out now.
Hi, I am Wang Zhongjie from Sun Yat-sen University, and here is my poem Storm's End, which is an irregular Jueju or Guti Jueju. Bright stars pierce through thick black night. Winds roar loud, bend oaks with might. Rain floods plains, waves smash stone walls. Dawn breaks through, calm winds take flight.
An old tale where moss is dense, loons perched wail. When pond is jade, beasts are frail. Pray tell, mon frère, what to do. Don't fret. Woe's the same old tale.
Hello, my name is Emma Adams and I am a junior at the University of Missouri, Columbia. My poem is called Ordinary Day. Strong wind, crisp leaf dance down tree, rich gust, firm twigs, twist like sea. Make this time stay calm at peace. Lean on lush grass, sip some tea.
White sky, frost grows, cloud meets road. Blue leaf, sun shrinks, stuck in snow. Warm ground, gold shines, sun comes out. Bright light, lake melts, take it slow.
Recitation of Spring Harmony in Unregulated Qi by Sherry Wong, Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics. Clouds drift, buds bloom, warm sky glows, damp air, calm ponds, cool breeze blows. Green growth, birds chirp, light rain mist, chimes ring, ease mind, clear brook flows.
Twined brush, lone paths, roots parse, die, foiled bloom, dual fates, both truths lie. Would you seek life where lives pass? From death, souls rise. This is why.
Lush buds, full field, lit sky gleams, mauve blooms, gold plain, bronze sun beams. Bright minds, young souls, meet and soar. World dims, yet we blaze in dreams.
There's a lot of steps to learn how to write a Jueju. It's very complicated. It takes a great deal of work and dedication of these students and their teachers, and I want to acknowledge those, especially those who are not able to join us from around the world, who will be watching this either live or tomorrow on the archived video. It also takes some time to learn how to recite a Jueju. But what you were hearing with the different white and black dots was a truncating and elongating of the vowels, something that's never happened in English before. But it's a very natural part of English, just as it is in classical Chinese. So it always amazes me when I hear them submit their poems with such beautiful recitations. I'd like to also just take a moment, Hugh Caldwell, our winner from Australia. I just want to say from your Newman Prize family, our condolences. He didn't submit a video because he wanted to show his wife who passed away this year, and it makes the poem incredibly beautiful. And I just want to thank you, Hugh, for contributing that poem to this year's ceremony. It's very meaningful. And now, we're going to confer the certificates and medals to our prize winners. So if I can invite Joellen up to the stage, we'll begin doing so now. We'll start at the end with the winners for the best English Jueju video, which is a separate prize. And so if Anne Gao can come to the stage along with Penelope Klein, you'll receive your medals and certificates. All right, next we have the Oklahoma adult winner, Lucy Coleman. And now the winner of the Oklahoma High School competition, Vincent Huang. And if I can get Vincent's dad and teacher too. We have our honorable mentions. So honorable mention, we have Eden Nossinger, if you'll come down. And now Sherry Wong for the honorable mention in the high school category. All right, I'm going to ask Joellen to go ahead and stay close because I'd like her to now say a few things about Harold Newman and the Newman Prize from the point of view of the Newman family. So please, once again, as she gets up here, one more round of applause for our Jueju winners. I give you Joellen Schomer.
Good evening, everybody. So nice to be here. I am deeply honored to represent my family here tonight. This award is a testament to my father's profound affection for the University of Oklahoma, where he studied in the 1940s, and his enduring passion For fostering China-US relations, he firmly believed that cultural exchange enables us to connect on an emotional level, transcending mere intellectual understanding. My family takes great pride in the distinguished recipients of the Newman Prize, and I remain in awe of today's winner, Ling Yu. I'm honored and deeply grateful for the time spent with Ling Yu. Her remarkable spirit, profound humility, and poetic genius have certainly left an indelible impression on me. I want to congratulate all of tonight's Jueju Award winners as well. Your exceptional talent and dedication, demonstrated within the established guidelines of the competition, are truly commendable. I would like to thank the University of Oklahoma for their unwavering support of the award and for appropriately honoring some of today's most brilliant literary minds. And of course, my heartfelt gratitude to Jonathan Stalling for his exceptional leadership of the Newman Prize. His unwavering dedication and unparalleled commitment have elevated this endeavor to new heights of excellence. Thank you all for being here tonight, and again, congratulations to Ling Yu.
All right, we're getting closer to the main event. Next, I'll be introducing our juror who won this year's Newman Prize. Juries are very tough. Let's just imagine this for a moment. You are, sorry, but real quick, you are a passionate advocate for the person you nominate. And those who have long-standing, decades of devotion as translators, as scholars. You come into a room, virtual or otherwise, and you have 5 people who have to come to an agreement upon one. So there are 2 champions in my mind in the room tonight. One, of course, is Madame Ling Yu, the winner, but also is the juror who came out on top. So please welcome Cosima Bruno from University of London.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my very great pleasure to present the poet Ling Yu with the 2025 Newman Prize for Chinese Poetry in recognition of her remarkable contribution to poetry. I nominated this Taiwanese poet because her work is characterized by an untrammeled, ingenious lyricism which interprets general problematics of the contemporary time and tragic experience of her personal life through the controlled elegance of Chinese classical poetry, the plasticity of visual arts, the principles of East Asian philosophy, and the warmth of her personal voice. For Ling Yu, the poet can only research and shape an aesthetic sense of the world, take artistic risks without, however, disrupting the raw quality of language. One line from her awarded poem Acrobat Family says, "A mouth open spits flames for the darkness around." Ling Yu's poems have that kind of luminosity filtering through the dark. Her language is economical and concise, and yet surprising and reverberating complex meaning. Critically acclaimed in Taiwan, Ling Yu engages thoughtfully with classical and modern, Eastern and Western, literary, philosophical, artistic, and esoteric sources, generating outstanding works that require our full attention, but that are also intuitively grasped. Her favorite combinatory form is the poem cycle or series, in which the arranged poems carry out the exploration of a theme, spanning meditation, history, feminism, capitalism, the environment, autobiographical memories, mythology, and more. There are poems inspired by Pada Shanren, Georgia O'Keeffe, Frida Kahlo, as well as Zhuangzi, Kundalini Yoga, and Greek mythology. The reader is soon enthused by the prism created by these rich, elegantly employed references, their evocative imagery and symbolism. Ling Yu's lifelong achievement include her role as an editor of Taiwan Times, deputy editor-in-chief of Chinese World, chief editor of Modern Poetry, and founder and editor-in-chief of the iconic Poetry Now, together with fellow poets Xia Yu, Hong Hong, Ah Wen, and Chen Shumei. She received a number of major awards in Taiwan and was invited to international venues such as the 35th Poetry International Festival in Rotterdam, the 2011 Hong Kong International Poetry Nights, Harvard University, Paris, and so on. She is author of a few short stories, essays, and 9 collections of poetry, running the gamut of her life experience. She wrote poems on the city of Taipei in Series on a City, 1990, on mythological and historical figures and places in Names Disappearing on the Map, 1992, on train traveling in Mudong Odes, 1999, and on her hometown and family in Some Calculation About Hometown, 2004. She also wrote performance-based poems in Acrobat Family, 1996, Harsh Deprecation of the Impact of Global Capitalism in I'm Heading for You, 2010, Poems of Ecological and Gnostic Concern in Fields and Garden, 5 p.m. 49, 2014. Her latest 2 collections, Skin Colored Time 2018 and Daughters 2022, offer myth-inspired and ekphrastic poems in which time collapses in her reading of paintings, poems, and myths that overlap with her own personal affects. Skin-Colored Time includes delightful compositions inspired by the poet's reflections on her cultural heritage, as well as poems dedicated to philosophers, artists, and poets such as Zhu Xi, Qu Yuan, Xian Xiu, Du Fu, or simply unnamed maidens at court. I read excerpts from the poem Ode to the Past, dedicated to the 3rd century scholar Xian Xiu. How does one explain that soft curve in the road and the muddy path that follows behind it? That dark pond of idle fish, the grove of willow trees, and the vacant spot in the middle? How does one explain that small, empty space, always waiting for my comment, for my gaze? Her latest collection, Daughters, has a pronounced autobiographical theme centered on the figure of the sick, then dead mother and sister. The persona doubles or multiplies. She's a daughter, a mother, a sister, a woman, a family member, and a social individual. In some poems, disturbing, heartbreaking images of disease and hospitalization ground Ling Yu's grief and alternate with soft tones of love and care, devoid of sentimentality and contrivance. In the series titled Looking at the Pictures from the same collection, the poet entertains ekphrastic interplay with the 53 Stations of Tokaido, a series of woodblock prints by the Japanese artist Utagawa Hiroshige, whom she defines as an aesthetic mother to her writing. Ling has outstanding skills in sounding calm and contemplative, but not slow, serious and reflexive, but not grave, elegant yet natural, poetic yet not constricted by rhymes, playful but not simple. Modest in attitude, Ling Yu has been shying away from the flashing lights of her fame, but keenly engaged with her community, mentoring through her work as an academic and as a journal editor. Ling Yu's poetry has been widely published in literary magazines and in book form. Individual poems have been translated into English by Andrea Lingerfelter, Sylvia Marinissen, Dennis Meyer, Lucas Klein, Michel Ye, Julia Ling, Frank Stewart. 4 books are currently available in translation. Myself, My Train and You, translated by Dennis Meyer and others in 2011. A Tree Planted in Summer, translated by Fiona Saint-Laurent, 2015. Terre Sauvage, translated by Camille Loevier into French in 2022. And Nicholas Wong, English translation of Daughters, just out for Balestier Press. More recently, renewed interest in Ling Yu's poetry is producing other book-length translations. Sylvia Marinissen is translating an anthology of poems into Dutch, and Alice Grunfelder one into German. There are many talented poets writing in Chinese, and it was not easy to select one for nomination. Ling Yu stands out for complexity and originality of her poetics, and for her work's cultural relevance in the world, as well as in the community and linguistic region. As readers, we are guided in the folds of Ling Yu's life experience and the Taiwanese cultural environment. But in her poems, we also always find something of ourselves or our loved ones. Dear Ling Yu, please accept your ardent readers. Thank you.
Well, now you have, I guess, your answer of how she came out on top. So I would like to invite Joellen back up to the stage where we will confer this year's Newman Prize for Chinese Literature on Madame Ling Yu. In addition to the medallion, this also comes with a $10,000 prize. I would like to invite Ling Yu and her translator, Professor Wang, to the stage where she will read her acceptance speech and Professor Wang will translate.
晚安，各位先生、各位女士，敬爱的评委代表 Cosima Bruno 教授，以及纽曼家族的代表 John Ellen 纽曼女士。纽曼华语文学奖在广大的华语地区已经获得了崇高的声誉。今年很意外的，我能够得到这个殊荣。我深感荣幸，在此致上由衷的感谢。我生在上个世纪50年代，那是一个相对保守的年代，一直到70年代甚至80年代，在我的记忆中，台湾的社会还是很保守的，以致我的内心和社会的氛围产生了冲突。但是我把这种冲突埋在心里，我想写作，然而仅止于在阅读之余，羡慕那些才华洋溢的作家。为什么他们能这样写？为什么他们敢这样写？我要写什么呢？我能写什么呢？我想写小说。
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Cosima Bruno, representative of the jury, and Ms. Joella Newman, representative of the Newman family. The Newman Prize for Chinese Literature has become highly reputable in the Chinese-speaking world. It is such a surprise to receive this prestigious award this year. I am deeply honored and would like to express my heartfelt thanks. I was born in the 1950s, a relatively conservative time. As far as I recall, Taiwanese society was still conservative up until the 1970s and even the 1980s. This set off the conflict between my inner self and my social environment. I buried this conflict deep within. I hoped to write, but I was left only to read and admire the talents of those writers. How did they end up writing like this? Why did they have the guts to write like that? What should I write? What can I write? I wanted to write fiction.
我从小就喜欢观察人，从人的外表、穿着、肢体语言，揣测他的内心、职业、人品、性格等等。坐公车的时候，我记录乘客的对话。我会递纸条给司机、车长小姐、陌生人，表明我的爱憎。我对世界充满了热切与好奇，我以为我可以写小说了。我所佩服的小说家，我阅读过的，例如俄国的陀思妥耶夫斯基，法国的福楼拜、巴尔扎克，西班牙的塞万提斯等等。我还读了当时翻译了很多到台湾的美国小说。我记得我读了一本叫做《我的安东尼亚》的小说，当时很着迷。小说中呼唤安东尼亚的声音一直在我少女的心灵中回荡。
I've always been a keen observer of people since I was young. From the way they look, dress, and move, I could tell what they felt, where they worked, how they acted and behaved. On the bus, I would jot down the chat between passengers. I would profess my love and hate to drivers, ticket ladies, and strangers using paper slips. I thought my passion and curiosity about the world had primed me to write fiction. I admired novelists that I had read, such as Dostoevsky from Russia, Flaubert and Balzac from France, Cervantes from Spain. I also read a lot of US novels translated for a Taiwan readership. I remember being fascinated by a novel called My Antonia. The voice calling out for Antonia in the novel resounded in my teenage heart.
我感受到书写的力量，我切盼能够成为小说家，但是一直到将近30岁，我的梦想依然渺茫。我写了几篇短篇小说，却感觉到已经疲惫了。我在出版社、报社工作，我采访、编辑、写专栏，都受到相当的肯定，但是我的小说事业一直未见起色。我内心有一团火，但是我的生活经验缺乏架构一篇一篇小说的条件。王国维在他著名的《人间词话》说，客观的写作者需要有丰富的人生经验，例如《红楼梦》的作者；反之，主观的写作者人生的经验越少，性情越纯真，例如像李后主。我不知道我是否属于后者，但我之不能写小说，似乎已经确定了。
Writing felt powerful to me, and I want to write fiction. But as I approached my 30s, this dream seemed ever so elusive. I felt burned out from having just written a few short stories. But in my work at the publishing house and newspaper, I got recognition for my interviews, editorial work, and for being a columnist. Still, my career as a fiction writer never quite took off. Despite the fire in my heart, I lacked the life experience from which I could base my fiction. In his famous work, Poetic Remarks in the Human World, 人间词话, Wang Guowei described the objective writer as someone possessing abundant life experience, such as the author of Dream of the Red Chamber. Conversely, the subjective writer has an innocence that compensates for the lack of experience in life, such as Li Yu. I don't know if the latter applies to me, but it's become clear to me that I am not a fiction writer.
当时我在台湾时报的文学副刊担任编辑，主编梅新先生是一位诗人，他正在筹划现代诗杂志副刊的事宜，就请我帮忙校对。没想到我看到那些诗人的手稿，就兴起了一世的勇气。我从来不曾动过写诗的念头。过去我文学创作的重点多半放在小说，尤其是小诗一般的印象呢是风花雪月的闲事，是人生的美丽的点缀而已。尤其是我读过的古典诗词，那些奇词丽句，固然很令我喜欢，但是我只想写小说，是想避免这种华mỹ的印象。小说的内涵似乎更多元一些，这种错误的印象，在我开始写诗的时候，似乎就注定了我会走上一条与传统不一样的诗的道路。
At that time, I edited the literary supplement for Taiwan Times, Taiwan Shibao, and the editor-in-chief, Mr. Mei Xin, was a poet. He was planning to relaunch the journal Modern Poetry, 现代诗, and had asked me to help him with the proofreading. Who knew that after looking at those manuscripts, I would then give poetry writing a try? I had never thought of writing poems. In the past, most of my effort went into writing fiction. Poetry was seen as a frivolous affair of the sentimental, a pretty embellishment in life. In particular, the classical verses I had read were tantalizing to me in their flashy turns of phrases. Yet I chose fiction, precisely to escape such ostentatious displays, thinking that fiction allowed for more diverse forms of expression. Being so mistaken at the start of my poetic journey seemed to have set me up on the course that drifted away from tradition.
我把对写小说的种种野心向往移植在诗里。我偏离了当时社会上对于女诗人的期待，但我不是要刻意与众不同，而不写一般人期待的情诗。我只是想写我胸中的那团火，那个浓烈的关怀点。我关心的事物很多，恰好从80年代开始，台湾社会剧烈转型，我的关怀点被社会的种种现象点燃，引发了我的思索与热情。我关心的焦点促使我写下了对城市发展、对资本主义、对社会转型正义，以及对人类命运困境的探讨。城的连坐，消失在地图上的名字，特技家族、穆东勇歌集是80年代到90年代的4本诗的作品。其中的主诗《特技家族》，因为它文字的突破创新以及哲学的思维，获得了1993年的年度诗奖。
Whatever ambition and desires I harbored towards fiction, I put into poetry writing. I deviated from the expectations that society had for women poets at that time. But I didn't set out to be different by not writing the love poems that people wanted. I just wanted to write about the fire in my heart, what I cared for ferociously. I cared about many things. Since the 1980s, it so happened that Taiwan was going through a drastic social transformation. Various things in society ignited my attention and spurred me to think deeply and passionately. I directed my attention to writing about urban development, capitalism, social transformation and justice, as well as the fate and plight of humanity. My 4 poetry books from the 1980s and 1990s are Series on a City, Names Disappearing on the Map, Stunt Family, and Mutong hymns. The poetic sequence, Stunned Family, won Taiwan's annual Poetry Award in 1993 for its groundbreaking, innovative use of language and philosophical thinking.
我出生在新北市平林的深山之中，在这里度过了我的幼儿时期。大约在4、5岁的时候，我随着父亲的工作，举家迁到了台北市区。只有在寒暑假的时候，才跟随父母回到山中，探望我的祖父母。虽然山居的经验很短，然而在我的一生中，心心念念的都是来自故乡山水的呼唤。我至今见到山，见到水，见到树、天空、云彩，或是鸟叫虫鸣，都忍不住停止赞叹。它们之于我是美的最高体现，甚至连破败的荒山、枯水、脏污干瘦的农人，在我看来都是美的。也许这个自然山水的经验，培育了我的道家的美学，成为我生命的基调。
I was born in the mountains of Pinglin, New Taipei City, where I spent my early childhood. When I was around 4 or 5, my family relocated to Taipei City for my father's job. Only during the summer and winter holidays did I return to the mountains with my parents to visit my grandparents. Although my experience of living in the mountains was brief, I was set on hearing its call, the call of mountains and rivers, for the rest of my life. To this day, the sight of mountains, waters, trees, the sky, clouds, and the chirping of birds and insects makes me stop in awe. They are the highest manifestations of beauty for me. Even deserted mountains, low water, and sweaty, emaciated farmers appear beautiful to me. Perhaps my Taoist aesthetics stems from this experience of nature and landscape, now a major force in my life.
在大学时期，我阅读古典的诗歌，就迷上了陶渊明，读遍了他所有的诗文作品。就因为他的道家生命哲思，对我特别具有魔力。另外，我还修习了《诗经》、《楚辞》，也十分的喜爱。这些作品的共同特点是题材多样、情感真挚、文字简要，与我后来所爱的杜甫、苏东坡都具有共同的特质。这样的特质也许流淌进入了我的生命，成为我诗歌写作的基因。我深受他们的影响，他们的关怀视角，他们的生平遭遇，在牵动了我的情感，形成了一连串的火山山脉，让我的心与世界总是血肉相连，火热滚烫，超越时空的限制。我一直心怀感动，感谢这些伟大的诗人，留下了这么珍贵的文学养分，灌溉我，滋养我，给我力量。在向死而生的人生中，感受到生命的乐趣。我在阅读的时候，总不免会流下热泪，同时体会到这个诗歌的世界就是我今生的乐园。
When I was in college, I read classical poetry and became obsessed with Tao Yuanming. I read all of his poetic works because his Taoist way of life endeared itself to me. In addition, I studied the classic of poetry, Shi Jing, and songs of the South, Chu Ci, which I also loved. What these works shared were their diverse topics, sincere emotions, and concise writing. My later favorites, Du Fu and Su Dongbo, also enjoy these qualities. Such qualities flow through my writing, forming the genetic makeup of my poetry. I had been deeply influenced by them, their perspectives of care, and their life stories, which set off emotions that ranged across volcanic mountains. The world and my heart became one, like flesh and blood, fiery and boiling over, transcending the limits of time and space. Forever grateful, I must thank the great poets who left behind such precious gifts of literature, since they showered me, nourished me, and fortified me with joy in the face of life and death. Reading their works, I cannot help but tear up, realizing that this world of poetry is my paradise on earth.
我骨子里对于自然山林的浓烈情感，使我在80年代的台湾经济起飞中，感受到自然山林的毁坏，人类心灵家园的丧失。2000年以后，我深化了写作的一些方向，传统与现在的冲突，对于心灵家园的渴望，对于文学家与艺术家的崇高敬意，并且加强了对日常生活的书写，完成了关于故乡的一些计算。我正前往你，田园下午5点49分，肤色的时光4本诗集，其中关于故乡的一些计算。我正前往你，田园下午5点49分，这3本诗集被作家黄文巨称为是林语的原乡3部曲。2022年，我出版了《女儿》，很荣幸地获得了台湾文学经典奖。这本诗集书写我对亲情、死亡、性别、家庭伦理的反思。我关心人类的命运困境，甚至身体的运作。我能感同身受他人的欢乐与痛苦。我把它们书写出来，是要彰显人类的坚强，而不是软弱。出版后获得许多读者的共鸣，这是我始料未及的。我只是如实的书写我平时的所思所感。
The fierce emotions I have for nature and forests made me attuned to deforestation and the loss of humanity's spiritual home during Taiwan's economic boom of the 1980s. My post-2000 poems accentuated the following aspects: the conflict between tradition and modernity, the longing for a spiritual home, the respect and homage due to literary writers and artists, as well as writing about daily life. I completed 4 books of poems: Some Calculations of a Hometown, I'm Heading for You, Idle, 5:49 p.m., and Skin-Colored Time. The writer Huang Wenju described the first 3 of these collections as Ling Yu's Hometown Trilogy. In 2022, Daughters was published and awarded Taiwan Literature Awards Golden Book Prize. In this collection, I reflected on love, death, gender, and family ethics, my concerns with the fate and plight of humanity and the workings of the body. Feeling for the joy and pain of others, I wrote about them in order to display the strength, not the weakness of human beings. The publication of Daughters resonated with many readers. This was something I did not expect. I had only written what I was thinking and feeling in my life.
最后我想说的是，女诗人在当代华语的诗坛几乎是一种开天辟地的存在，有各种各样的可能性可以施展。不要被性别限制了你的思维与书写，你可以投入更广大的世界，开启更多的开关，创造属于你自己的诗的国度。这也是我40年来创作的初衷与目标。我这一代的写作者见证了台湾社会半世纪以来剧烈的动荡，我用诗的形式把它记录下来。我与外界事物的交流激荡，使我的诗与传统女诗人的着眼点不同，但我无法拒绝我内在自动引燃的火焰。我想告诉后来的人，曾经有一个女子这样观察浸润在她的时代之中，并且坚信这是女诗人最好的时代，女性的优势 永远在我的信念之中。还有我在意的是火，我心中的那团火，关怀世界的那团火，是否依然燃烧？再次感谢纽曼华语文学奖，由专业的学者主动提名并且评选，让获奖的我深感意外与荣幸，并且感谢主办单位石江山院长的大力协助，以及王学全教授的精彩翻译，在此献上我的敬意与谢意，谢谢。
The last thing I want to say is that the existence of women poets is somewhat epoch-making on the contemporary Chinese poetry scene. You have endless ways to give free play to your thinking and writing without being hemmed in by gender. A wider world awaits you, where you open more doors and build a poetic realm for yourself. This has always been my intention and goal in all my 40 years of writing. Writers of my generation have witnessed the dramatic upheaval of Taiwan society over the past half-century. I have recorded it in the form of poetry. The tumultuous exchanges I have with the outside world have given my poems a different bent from those by traditional women poets. However, I cannot deny the flame that is touched off within me. I want to tell future generations that there was once a woman who observed and immersed herself in her times in such a way. I also firmly believe that this is the best time for women poets. Deeply rooted in me is the belief that in the strengths of being female. What I take to heart now is whether the fire in my heart, the fire that cares for the world, is still burning. Once again, I would like to thank the Newman Prize for Chinese Literature. I am truly stunned and honored to be nominated and selected by professional scholars to receive this prize. I would like to thank the organizer, Professor and Dean Jonathan Stalling, as well as Professor Nicholas Y.H. Wong for his excellent translation. I hereby express my respect and gratitude. Thank you.
I jotted down so many notes during that talk, so many ideas, so much I want to say, but I just want to start, and they will be brief, I promise, by thanking you, Ling Yu, for your open, generous, fierce heart. Your poetry is an inspiration, and your words, I hope, will leave all of us thinking a bit more about what you said in the last portion of your talk, about the importance for everyone to build a poetic world of your own. Language is a funny thing. You can go your whole life and not know that you're staring out of a window that's made of glass and never know it was made of glass. Never imagine what a stained glass cathedral could look like. That's what poets do with language, but it's nothing special. We are made of language. Human beings are unique. In Chinese cosmology, you know what something is by its wen. Wen is the word for literature, but it also means a pattern. A stone is a stone because it looks like a stone. A cloud is a cloud because it looks like a cloud. A mountain is a mountain. You get it. But a human being is not the wen of the face or the body. It's that we are language. Wen is us. So take a moment to build your poetic world. Slow it down, way down. Take time. If you wonder where her passion comes from, to connect the human experience to the natural world, it is because at some point, as she's reading novels, from big novels down to smaller, to the word, to the sound, to the phoneme, to really dig in. And it is like a fission bomb. It just opens up the world. Take time to read. Obviously, I hope all of you will take time to write, but start with reading and read it slow and read it again. and it will open up a world for you. And I hope that if anything you get from Ling Yu's speech, that you take that to heart. Build a poetic world of your own. And remember that when we do so, we cross languages through translation. And I want to take a moment because translators in this room are not invisible. So please thank our translators here. American Sign Language translators do so on the fly. They have to hear the intent. 诗言之, poetry speaks the intent of the mind. They're translating wonderfully through the whole evening. So also, so you'll stand up and as well, be recognized. Professor Liu, your words this evening about the importance of learning foreign language, everything I've said about poetry is doubled if you take the time to learn it in another language. I promise you the aperture will swallow you whole and you will never regret it. So thank you so much, everyone. This evening, I'd like you to do one thing for me. I need a phone. If you will please wave to Ling Yu. I want to get one photo of all of you so that she has this when she goes back. So, okay. So here we go. And a video, just say, congratulations. Wait, on three. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, Ling Yu. And thank you all for being here this evening.